This is the third and final part of this course. In part 1, we covered the importance of decision making in organizations. Then, in part 2, we explored the common decision making frameworks that help us implement a structured decision making process. In this final part of the course, we will take a tour of the Janua Decision Flow software to demonstrate how to create a new decision, how to complete the decision making process, and how to participate in the process based on your role. Let's begin. So in this view, we are logged into the Janua dashboard. And here you can see some stats about the number of decisions that are in the organization, tasks that are overdue. In the list below, we can see all the decisions that are currently in progress. This includes the title, the due date, the decision manager, the decider, and all the other roles who are involved in the decision. We can filter this view by selecting various options and categories. And if we have a look in the settings, here we can turn on the use of AI features. We can allow users to delete decisions after they've been resolved. And we can choose which framework to use. So here we've selected RACI, and if we go back to the dashboard, you can see that the role names have now changed to the RACI terminology. Switching back to the Janua framework and looking down below, we can see groups. Here we can add groups to limit the visibility of certain decisions. Right, so now let's create a decision, and the first thing we need to do is add a title. And with that title added, AI offers to suggest decision criteria based on the title. So here we have a suggestion from AI, and if we want to use it, we can copy it to the analysis description where we can edit it and make changes. The next step is to add decision description, giving more details about the decision. And from there, we add the decision outcomes that we are looking for with this decision. The next step is to add decision impacts, and we can also include categories for those impacts. Now we set a due date for our decision, and we allocate the decider role. We can also add general categories for the decision, and we can add groups to restrict decision visibility. Next, we add our contributors who are going to provide the data and analysis, and we set a due date for that analysis to be completed by. We can also add external contributors. Those are people who don't have an account in the Janua system. And finally, we add agreeers and anyone who needs to be informed about the decision. With that complete, we can now create the decision, and we now see it appear in our dashboard. When we click on that, we're taken through to the decision details, and here you can see all the roles, the dates, and the details around criteria, outcomes, and impacts. Here we see the bubble progress chart, which shows us where we are in the decision, and also the action menu for editing the decision. When the decision was created, an email was sent to everyone who has a role in the decision with all the details of that decision and a link to that decision for them to follow up on any allocated actions. So here I'm acting as a contributor, and I can now add analysis to this decision. Once I've done that, the analysis is added to the decision detail and includes a log of when that analysis was added. In this next view, we're now logged in as Melissa, who is also a contributor, and she now adds her analysis to the decision. Logged in again as Andrew, who is the decision manager, we can now take the next step, which is to create a recommendation for the decider. Again, we can use the AI feature to help us summarize all of the analysis and provide us with a suggested recommendation that we can then edit and audit. Once the recommendation is added, the decider will receive an email indicating that they have an action to review the recommendation. Logged in as Bob, we can see that there's a dot against that decision, which indicates an action is required. Bob then reviews all of the analysis and the recommendation, and when he's happy to proceed, he makes the final decision. Looking at our progress bar, we can see we're now in the implementation pass-through stage, and we have a detailed history of how the decision has progressed from start to finish. Several months later, the decision has been implemented, and Bob holds a review to do a retrospective review of the decision, which captures what went well, what went badly, and what lessons were learned. And this is all stored in the decision register and forms part of a growing knowledge base for the organization. Sometimes we might make a quick decision, for instance, in a meeting where everyone agrees and we decide to proceed quickly with a decision. And in that case, we can use the express decision to capture the details. Once we click submit, the decision is added to our decision register. Lastly, we can download all of our decision details in a spreadsheet format. Taking the decision-making process from theory to practice can be challenging at first. As you start to use it regularly, your organization will develop the skills and the muscle memory to make the process feel natural and simple. By using Janua Decision Flow, which automatically guides teams through the decision-making workflow, organizations can ensure the adoption of this new process is successful. We're excited that you're taking this journey to better decision-making. The Janua team is standing by to help you along the way, so please contact us anytime at support@janua.com. Thank you for attending this course.